Join the community, guys. Thumbs the video up if you enjoyed the video. I'm sick and tired of listening to Deontay Wilder fans try and tell me that guys like Jarrell Miller, guys like Dillian Whyte, these guys, honestly, they don't really deserve a title shot against somebody like Deontay Wilder. If you think that Dillian Whyte or Jarrell Miller, these two heavyweight contenders, don't deserve a shot against Deontay Wilder, and you're a Deontay Wilder fan, then you my friend, are deluded. Because I have a question for you. That question is very simple. Who the fuck did Deontay Wilder face before facing Bermane Stiverne for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world? If you actually compare the people Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller have been facing, they have been facing, compared to Deontay Wilder before he won a championship belt, these two fellas have been facing, were facing way better opposition. You know, Deontay Wilder was facing, prior to getting a shot at a world heavyweight champion, he was facing Ollie Harrison. Yeah, Ollie Harrison. You know, the A-Team, whatever he used to call himself. He was facing Sergey Lihovalev. Both Ollie Harrison and Sergey Lihovalev were fighters that were inactive. They were fighting like once every 3 years. They were both over-the-hill fighters. Okay? He was facing guys like Nikolai Furfa, a guy with like 10 losses. Yeah, a guy with 10 losses. He was having guys like Malik Scott, basically fake injuries or fake getting knocked out in the first 30 seconds. It was as if Malik Scott and Deontay Wilder called each other before the fight and said, listen, you're the best guy, who's supposedly the best guy who's going to face me, so let's just make it seem like I'm that good that I can knock you out in 30 seconds. So as soon as I punch you, just go down and stay down. Because that's exactly what Malik Scott did. Deontay Wilder's punch didn't even land, and Malik Scott fell down like he got shot. And he stayed down like he got shot. I thought that was the most ridiculous knockout I've ever seen. The fakest knockout I've ever seen. Oh, and that other guy, that bum who had like 17. Matter of fact, the guy he fought before fighting Stiverne was Jason Gavin. Jason Gavin had like 17 fights. So before Deontay Wilder fought a world champion, his last 5 opponents were fucking Jason Gavin, a guy with 17 losses, fucking bum ass Malik Scott, who fucking faked an injury or faked being knocked out, Nikolai Furfa, a guy with 10 losses, a bum, Ollie Harrison. These were the quality opponents Deontay Wilder was facing. Now, just compare that to Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller was facing Johann Duhaupas, right? Johann Duhaupas is a guy that Deontay Wilder defended his belt against. Yeah, Deontay Wilder defended his WBC belt against Johann Duhaupas. Right? And I think he had like 35 fights at that particular time. I think someone like Jarrell Miller fought Johann Duhaupas when he had like 21 fights. Oh, who else he fought? He also fought Jared Washington. Washington is the same guy that Deontay Wilder defended his WBC belt against. So these guys Deontay Wilder was defending his belts against. Yet Jarrell Miller was facing these dudes as just a contender and beating them, in my opinion, in better fashion than Deontay Wilder, because he beat the crap out of guys like Jared Washington. He won every single round against Washington. Washington was giving Deontay Wilder a boxing lesson. Alright? Dillian Whyte fought Joseph Parker, a guy who was a former champion. Lucas Brown, a guy who was a former champion. Derek Chisora, a gatekeeper. Anthony Joshua, a guy who went on to become a unified champion and who most people consider the best heavyweight at this particular time. right? Even Robert Helenius, you know. So you compare those guys. You compare Joseph Parker, Robert Helenius, Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora compared to Deontay Wilder's last 5 fights before fighting for a world title. There's no comparison. All the guys that Dillian Whyte fought before he ever challenged for a world championship belt were way better than anyone Deontay Wilder fought. Yet Deontay Wilder fans try to tell me that somehow, some way, Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller don't deserve a title opportunity against Deontay Wilder. Like, how stupid is that? They don't deserve a title opportunity, but they were facing way better quality of opponents, of opposition, unlike Deontay Wilder. And hold on, you mean to tell me Eric Molina deserved a title shot against Deontay Wilder? Who the fuck did Eric Molina fight? He was fighting nothing but bums. You mean to tell me Arthur Spilka earned a right to fight for Deontay Wilder's title? Who he fought? He lost to Brian Jennings. You mean to tell me Johan Duhaupas deserved to fight with against Deontay Wilder? Who he fought? You mean to tell me Chris Arreola? Chris Arreola was looking like a shot fighter when he fought, prior to facing Deontay Wilder. And what did Chris Arreola done besides getting knocked out against Bermane Stiverne and then get a gift decision? He was so shot at that point when he fought Wilder that he looked like shit against Travis Kaufman. Travis Kaufman is the same bum that got annihilated against Luis Ortiz, but Chris Arreola was so shot that he was losing and he got a gift decision against Travis Kaufman. That's the version of Chris Arreola that Deontay Wilder cherry picked. So you telling me all these guys deserved a shot over against Deontay Wilder's WBC belt? Even that guy, that Polish guy who tested positive for steroids. Deontay Wilder was gonna face this Polish guy. Man, his name, I totally forgot his name, but this Polish bum that I never heard of. That thank God he never fought him, but he was gonna face this Polish fighter who didn't deserve no title opportunity, no title shot. So again, if all those guys, and let's not talk about Luis Ortiz and Tyson. I'm not talking about those two fights. Those are two title defenses that they just happened last year. I'm talking about Deontay Wilder's first 5 title defenses were against guys that didn't deserve it. So you mean to tell me all those guys deserved it more than guys like Dillian Whyte or Jarrell Miller? These guys, both Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller, especially Dillian Whyte, have been facing way better oppositions to get themselves in a position to fight for a world title. I'm not saying these guys would beat the champions, or I'm not saying they will beat Deontay Wilder, but what I'm saying is, don't go around acting like these guys don't deserve a opportunity against Deontay Wilder. What are you talking about, man? Some of you guys make just look stupid. These guys don't deserve it, but Arthur Spilka deserved it. Johan Duhaupas. I guess the only people that deserve title shots against Deontay Wilder are guys that have no chance against him, right? Oh wait, if he has a chance against Deontay Wilder, nah, B, he don't deserve it because he got a chance, he might win. Nah, son, he don't deserve it. But if he doesn't have no chance and he's a guy you never heard of, and and he just fight nothing but bums, and yeah, he definitely deserves it because he ain't no risky fight, so we know Wilder's gonna reign supreme over him and beat him and knock his ass out. So, at least that's how I see it with Deontay Wilder fans. I think that Deontay Wilder fans just don't want to put Deontay Wilder in there against risky fights or guys that might be a risky fight for him. And that's all I have to say, guys. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.